Welcome back, Youngzers, episode 42, I believe. Um, slate's a little weak. Penguins, nothing going. Steelers draft come and gone. The luster of the draft is now gone. Not much to talk about since then. Not much to talk about till the rookie camp. But we do have some Buccos talk coming at you. Sad week, bad week. I was in attendance Saturday night. Absolute sad night, bad night for the most part, playing wise on the field. Good time down the shore, but bad time for what was on the field. But you know, uh, I don't really feel bad about it. I'll be honest. What about you guys? Like, what's the mood going into this coming week?
I mean, first of all, put my bat down. I left that at home. That is an autographed bat, straight out of the, it's authentic. I don't know why Ryan has that, but before we get,
You want to know? You want short story?
yeah, you took it.
But like, I just thought if there's ever an intruder, there's not many chance he hits people with a bat. So I'd be like, go for the bat, hit someone with the bat.
Whatever. Anyway, before I, give my feelings on the Buccos,
Right here, right in the neck.
shout out Dan. This is like Dan's flu game today.
Yeah.
No amount of Turners can help him today. So we're gonna try and we're gonna keep this episode a little short. Dan's, you can tell he's struggling. We played 18 this morning. Allergies got the best of me. It was probably I should have been getting 2 strokes a hole. My eye was swelling shut. I was sneezing the whole time. Probably annoying Ryan and Johnny, to be quite honest. I was just miserable. But yeah, like Ryan's covered before, ragweed, the silent killer. We're not gonna get back into that. But
It's the ragweed. I'm telling you, no, society doesn't talk about it enough. And I know I say it once, and I'm not going to say it again because I know Dan's gonna be like, "Oh, that's annoying. Quit talking about." It. But I'm going to say one sentence. I'll watch out for the ragweed. Head on a swivel. You see that ragweed?
Would you say it's overtaken asbestos as the silent killer in the United States?
For sure.
It's like, it's a poor man's pollen. It's a poor man's pollen. Everyone says pollen, but it's a poor man's pollen. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I don't want to get into the ragweed talk.
You're not going to get a rise out of me today. I'm just along.
I'm not going to try to. I feel bad. You're not good. 100%. And I'm not going to.
I'm sweating.
You missed your tea time today, so I know you probably feel bad about it. I'm going to be the bigger man. I'm taking Dan. You're down here. I'm taking the high road. So my road's up here, your road's down here. I'm taking that high road right now.
You're probably hauling through some rough terrain up there too, is like the best hauler in Western PA. I appreciate it.
I drove, so the best hauler did,
Well, we switch every week though. I drove last week. So like a gentleman's agreement.
That's fair.
I haul his clubs one week, he hauls my clubs next week.
The best hauler drove today. That's what I'm trying to get at.
But big news from a hauler's standpoint, I added my mowing shoes to the bed. Put it in the bed. So, the mowing shoes are mobile. So if you need any yard work done on a fly, I can be there, without worrying about the footwear. Got my mowing shoes in the back. They called it in. I got in the haulers union. I was on the line. And they said, "Hey, mowing shoes in the back." So I got them out of the garage, and they're now in the back.
I will say you probably should have mowed that first cut today at Lenape. Dan, I know you played there a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't think they've cut the first cut yet this year. It was horrid hitting out of it.
That's terrible.
Horrid.
It wasn't pristine when I was up there a few weeks ago, but like it was mowed at least. The first cut
was
probably
mowed.
Was 2 inches. It wasn't much.
It was probably a little more than that. But it was mowed, and the thing was like the dead grass was everywhere. So you got those brown clumps, and it was like difficult to find a couple balls if they like snuck under it, or if you're unlucky to hit it in there.
That's where I want to ask you guys: do you guys play the gallery rule? So if there's a ball that you hit that is maybe a few feet off of the fairway and would be found. It didn't go in the woods. It didn't go in the water. It's not out of bounds. It's not in any hazards. Do you make your playing partners take a stroke there? I don't, because of gallery rule. Because if there was thousands of people line them fairways, we would find it every time. I've had it happen to me. I remember playing with John Ettinger, DJ, and maybe Ginger, and we were at Bird's Foot, and John hit this nice drive. I can't remember which hole, but it bounced a little right, and we should have been able to find it, and we couldn't find it. And he's like, "Oh, I'll just take a stroke." I was like, "John, I don't play like that." I was like, "That ball should be found. It's the gallery rule. That's what I call it." And
I think it's a general agreement. It depends who you're playing with, But I'd be like, like if you hit it right down the pipe and you can't find it, like chances are it's like in a hole or like plugged or like, something stupid. So I'm personally like, if you're just playing, like, sure, go ahead. Like, I'm not going to care. That happened to me a couple times today. I had like that first hit right up the middle, like straight, and I couldn't find it. I was looking everywhere, and I finally found. I was about to drop, and I found it like in a hole, like literally in a hole. Mm-hmm. That happened like twice this whole round. So yeah, I mean, I don't care. I give people a club length. They're behind a tree. Like if we're just out there for for fun, like who wants to punch out onto the fairway? Like, nah, take a club length and you like let her rip. Big let her rip guy.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a gentleman's league. You're not playing for money. You're out there just having a good time. It's a gentleman's league. But there was a foursome in front of us actually, and they were loud and slow, which is the two things that I don't want to see. So we had Goomes come in there and shake them up, absolutely drive over their heads.
So okay, I gotta go back. The hole on Lenape with the bell that goes out to the left. It's like a skinny shot. So I slice to the right, and I'll tell you, I've never hit the fairway on this hole because my shot goes left to right. So I'm usually near that gas well somewhere, kind of that way. I'm like, you know what? They've been gone for a while. Personally, my golf rule is if you're not out of my jurisdiction within your second shot, like that's your problem, not mine.
Yeah.
Like from my playing standpoint, I know some people, they're like, oh, I can hit my second shot 250. Well, good for you. That's not me. But anyway, so my rule is if you hit your drive and you hit your second shot, if you're not out of my way, it's not my fault at that point. So it was a blind tee shot, not my fault. I got a hold of her, the lifting came into play a little bit, got like a little juiced up on my drive. I was like, yeah, there's no way, they have to be gone by now. I like let that sucker go. And when I tell you this was the farthest drive of my career, it probably was. And straightest drive, I'd have to say. Maybe not farthest, but definitely straightest. Right down the pipe. We go up there, and they're still like right there. It had to have went over their head because I go to my ball, and there's tire marks over the top of it. They were probably like all angry.
Yeah.
They ran it over. So we had to shake them up. They're playing so slow.
Well, there's the thing. Like, there's a pace of play. Like, if it takes you longer than 8 minutes to finish a hole, like you're just screwing up everything for everybody. Mm-hmm. So it's a pain in the ass.
I mean, I did feel bad, and I had my return to glory a little bit because like the next hole, I found like an 8-iron and a ball right beside each other. So it had to have been theirs in front of me. So I went up. We got to the turn, and I was like, "Hey, is this like your 8-iron?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's Pappy Pappy's. That's Pappy Pappy's." And like, him. Like, I was like, "No, I don't know this guy." Like, they're talking to me like I knew like this guy. Like, we went way back. Like, I was like, "Yeah, I have no clue you're talking about. Like, just take this."
Yeah.
So I gave it to them, and then we like continued on our way. So
yeah, we got up to the turn. Ryan, his drive on 7 was actually right at the crest of the hill before it drops down, right down the middle. Piped it. So we're up there. We finish up 9. We go to the turn. They're waving us through. They're like, "Oh, you guys are playing faster," and just play through. So we ended up playing through on the back 9. There was a 3 to 4 hole gap between us and them the rest of the day.
Wow.
So they were weird, probably getting off, and they were maybe on the par 5 after the par 3. The uphill over the lake, par 3, and then the par 5 out.
Yeah,
I bet they were on that hill.
They were teeing off there when we were on 17.
Wow. Yeah. It just shows pace of play. Like, they should have had the courtesy to tell you to go through earlier.
Because I think, we got through that back 9 in like an hour and 20, 15. That front 9 took us like 2.
Yeah.
Like 8:30 to maybe 10:30, and we were out by like noon.
The general rule is like 4 hours for 18 holes, depending on pace of play. But like, you guys smoked through the back 9, it sounds like. So you would have had your whole round done in 3 hours. You'd have been back.
I mean, I'm not a superstar, but I hit fast and I find my ball. Yeah. That's all you got to do. Like hit fast, find your ball.
And a lot of those guys you get out there in front of you, they're taking 5 mulligans. They're they're not playing ready golf. Well, he's away. Oh, if you find your ball, go hit it, and then go help your buddy find the ball. If you think he's OB or somewhere, and he can't find it, go hit your ball, Sim. We're not waiting for you too. So it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it really was. And like they were hitting it probably like 50 yards on the par 3. They were barely even off the tee box, and they're yucking it up. They're loud as loud as hell. I was I'm trying to hit on the par 5, and they're on that it kind of just goes out to the left with like the 2-ish tiered green on the front there.
Yeah,
the real long par 5 with like the island right before the green.
Yeah,
I remember backswing. They're just screaming at each other in the back. Like I'm not a huge rules guy, obviously. Like we go out there, we're jagging around a little bit, having fun, but like. If I don't know you, like, don't be yelling shit when I'm trying to hit, because I do want to get better at the game, believe it or not. I'm not there to be, puffing on a cigarette and hitting it 10 yards like these old timers were. I mean, just BS. It looked like they were electing a new pope on every fairway. You just see a cloud of smoke. I'm like, what is going on up here? I thought it was the Vatican coming through.
Like, if you want to have a conversation, like, take a step back on the tee box and let the next group through. Like, it's going to take you the same amount of time to hit as you are going to have that, or for us to get through. But, yeah, that's golf talk. It was a nice morning.
You almost got hit twice, actually.
Me?
Yeah. Was that you or John?
I was on the green, and this guy said, 4 left, and he was, literally parallel to me, and this ball comes, whizzing by my head. I was like this. I was like, wow.
There's a couple times. Yeah, when we were teeing off on that, it would have been number 6 or no 5. The par 4 goes out to the right. We're on the tee box, and someone on the par 5 yelling 4 on the tee box, and we're looking. All of a sudden, boom! Right on the tee box goes to the blues in the back. I'm like, buddy, you missed way right on that one.
I think it'd be funny. I'd be okay with getting hit if someone got it on video and it hit me in the back. I feel like that'd be kind of funny. If they had a video. The guy was nice about it, though. He wasn't a stickler. He was like, yeah, I'm just having a bad day. And I was like, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we've all
He wasn't taking it serious. He's just common man golfing. So I was like, yeah, cool. You're good. Didn't hit me. And I was like, I told him it would have been a good shot if you're on the last hole, because it was on the green, 5 feet away from the hole. You can hit. I don't think he hit off the green though.
No, there's times where people can be hard asses hitting into you and stuff, and they act like it's your fault. But if they're okay about it, it happens everywhere. You go to a public course, you get a bunch of people out there. None of us are professionals. Everyone, people can barely break 100 out there, and it happens. And you just got to understand, hey, I've done it to people, and they're going to do it to other people. It's not the first time. It's not going to be the last. As long as they're okay with it and they're cool about it. But you could get those people that are hard up about it, oh, you got to watch where you're swinging. You're perfect. Why aren't you on the tour then?
As long as cool about 4 and it's near me, I couldn't give a crap, because none of us are good. But you see that a little bit. Someone hits like we hit into them, Dan. They're not going to give us guff, because next thing you know, the mega powers are out of the cart, and they're in for a little they're in for the problem at that point.
Personally, when I'm golfing and I see an opposing cart coming my way, by no means when I'm chipping or laying up or anything, kind of. Well, when I'm laying up, I can. But if I'm 150, 200 out, there's no telling where that ball's going. And if you're near the fairway at any meet, you're in the danger zone. I'm sorry, but that's your own fault. Well, no, it's kind of my fault. But I feel like I have a better chance of hitting you than hitting the green, kind of deal. So I don't know.
If you're that far out, same thing with me. You hear Kenny Loggins has entered the chat. Danger zones on the course. You better be ready.
This guy came rolling up on that par 5. After that, that real tricky green, I was swinging. I'm like, yeah, this guy, I'm gonna be honest, you're in trouble right now. He's just riding up. His shield isn't even up. I was teeing off. He's smiling, looking around. I was like, if I get a hold of this right at you, you're getting teed off.
Yeah. No, that's golf talk. We went off the rails a little bit. So, Pirates, they stunk this week.
Yes.
Simple. They stunk.
7 straight losses.
Just say they haven't won a game since our last show. last Sunday they lost to the Nationals. That was like right, I think before our show they lost to the Nationals. Yes. So that was the first game of their now, I think seven game losing streak. That cancels out the beginning of the year with the 7-game win streak. So in my opinion, we're back at square one where it's clean slate, 0-0, just even. Are they 500 still? Or are they like one game above?
They're 5 games up. They're 20-15.
Okay, so 5 games up. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit. The Rays are a tough opponent. The Blue Jays are a tough opponent. But you got to at least grab 1 or 2 of those games. 3-game series against each team. Even if you are the inferior team, you should at least pick up 1 from each of them, which they really could have, but it was just they really showed their age. The middle of the infield really needs to figure it out. First and third, I see no problem there. But G1 Bay, especially I think in Tampa, just errors. Rodolfo Castro, he's got to go. And then right field, there's just nothing there. I mean, that Angular, I don't know. Andujar, just watching him on Saturday, he needs to go. They need to plug those spots in. I'd rather have Connor Joe out there, Sawinski, and move McCutchen out of the DH, and at least you can put him there. Get McCutchen in the field, have a veteran out there. But O'Neal Cruz not being there, it's starting to show a little bit that you had a good player there, and it's going to be hard to plug that hole. We couldn't ride this non-everyday player forever. The magic's going to run out here and there, but it's just it was something every game. The starting pitching hasn't been up to par. The base running was horrible the other night, and just the errors in decision-making isn't good. I think we're on a downturn, but I'm not that mad. I'm not upset. I'm still enjoying baseball, and I'm having fun watching still. I enjoyed watching the game yesterday, even though they didn't get a hit till the 6th, 7th inning. But it's Pirates baseball. It's all we got to watch right now, unless you're an NBA or NHL, like an NHL fan. So if you're a Pittsburgher, this is the only thing you're watching.
You're missing one player that's got to go too, Austin Hedges. He's been awful.
Oh, I forgot about Hedges. He's not even hitting a 14-year-old girl's body weight right now. So I think he's batting 130.
Oddly specific, but no, so just a weird analogy, dude.
I was just saying, he's not even hitting his own body weight, which that's not even a close analogy, because I think he's 220. So he's hitting about 100 pounds below his own body weight. So I think he's batting my body weight from 4th grade, where I was a solid 140. So,
Jesus.
But yeah, you gotta get Endy Rodriguez up. I'd say get Henry Davis up here. Get the young guys. What do you got to lose? They cannot do any worse than that schmuck catching behind the plate.
Which
too many errors, too many mental errors. Yeah. That's what to do.
Which what would the answer be at short? Castro's taking a lot of the reps there, but what else do they got? Marcano, can he play?
He could. You go with Castro. His bat's good. Good enough where.
Hasn't showed.
Well, that's the thing. You need somebody at second, because Rodolfo moved over to short, and G1 Bay was stinking the joint up down there in Tampa. That big inning, what was it, the third? Was it the bottom of the first? It was the third inning. They blew it open with 3 or 4 runs on an error. And Mitch Keller was pitching just fine, but his one error turned into 3 unearned runs.
That's been the case for the past 3 out of 5 games. The one game in Tampa is 4-0 early.
Yeah.
Yesterday I went, it was 4-0 early. The game started before I even got home today. It was 4-0. And I was like, the game hadn't even started. It's 4-0. And I was like, it's just the early runs tacked on. And the bats aren't really coming alive. We're not getting as many base runners before. And even when there's runners on base, they're not getting in scoring position like they were whenever we're on that hot streak.
And you got to go with the young guys, though. Like Nick Gonzalez at second. I don't care. At this point, just put them in there. They're the ones that have the pedigree. Let them come up here, get the reps. You would rather have those guys get experience than Mark Mathias, Austin Hedges. These guys who cares at this point?
I'm going to make a couple points here. So Tampa, they're the best team in baseball right now, and they showed why. And we're not getting timely hits with guys in scoring position, and that wasn't the case when we were on that 7-game win streak and then lost that one and then won a few more. They were tacking together runs with timely hits. But you're playing Toronto, who is like record wise a very comparable opponent to yourself. They're 21-14 now.
Aren't they in the toughest division though?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They have the Orioles. They have the Yankees.
Yeah.
So are the Red Sox in there or no?
No.
Who else is in there? Tampa? No, is Tampa in there? No, are they? No,
I don't. I couldn't tell you.
I'm trying to think. I don't know the what's it called, the divisions.
But when it comes down,
Tampa's in there too. So this is the toughest division in baseball. You got Tampa, who they're like the best
team in baseball.
Baltimore's right there.
Yep.
Toronto right there too. Then you got Boston and New York, which New York, the Yankees are playing below their level, but Boston, I don't think they're that good. But that's got to be the toughest division in baseball right there. The Pirates, the only thing I'm going to say they have going for them is I think they're playing in the worst division in baseball.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are, the Cardinals are in the basement right now.
They're a shell
and then
of
you got the Reds,
the
Cubs, and the Brewers, and the Pirates are still in, I think, first right now, right?
Yes.
So the Pirates are still holding one, which, I'm just going to enjoy it. But, the rest of the division, the NL Central, it's just very weak this year. I know we're only about 30 games in, maybe. So we got about 1/6 of the way through, I guess, 180, 30 times 6. Yeah,
162 games.
162, so 1/5, I don't know. A little bit over fifth, whatever. Math heads out there. I don't know. So, yeah, we're about a fifth in, but a lot of time left, and Pirates division looks kind of weak, so that's the only way I could see them potentially sneaking into some kind of playoff scenario. But if they keep playing this way, and they're just getting so many runs hung on them, like these 10-run games, 8-run games, 7-run games, it just looks bad, especially when you can't hit or like get as many runs going there. So I don't know. I'm just gonna see how this next week goes, because it was a tough week for them, like tough opponents. So we'll see how it goes this coming week.
This week isn't looking very good for them. Well, you got the Rockies coming in, but then you go to Baltimore and you play the Orioles for 3. You just said the toughest division in baseball, and they're going to play 3 of the toughest teams from that division in a week of themselves. And Baltimore's right behind Tampa. So, I mean, if the mental errors keep going and they're not getting the timely hits, and I don't want to hang it all on the starting pitching, because when you have errors like that, it just implodes and then it multiplies. And a 1-run game going into the third is now a 5-run game going into the third because one error, and that's huge. And I'm not making excuses for them, because they're professionals and they should make those plays. But sometimes they get charged with errors that shouldn't be errors, and sometimes they don't get charged with an error when it should be. So it's screwed there. But I just think if you're a professional ball player, you can't be making errors like that. G1 Bay. I know that that's not probably his, everyday position. He's kind of like a utility guy, like a J-Hay. But if they're asking you to go play there because we have injuries, you gotta cut down on that. You just got to be reliable, kind of like a backup goalie. Look what happened to the Pens. They didn't have a reliable backup goalie, and they missed the playoffs. So just like that.
I'm sorry. It's still very basic, like errors they're making. It's like a ground ball to short or a second. And all the errors that I'm seeing are, it's 2 outs and it's going to get you out of a jam.
Yep.
So that's where these big runs are coming from. There's 2 outs, and if you hear contact, those base runners are going. So that's where these runs are getting hung up on them. And, it's just a dang shame. I know that's a big gap. Second was a weak point. I think we highlighted on at the beginning of the year, correct?
Yeah.
I think second and first, maybe.
Yes.
Second and first were the 2 iffy positions. But right field's looking iffy now too. I don't know if it's just because depth, there's not really much to choose from after a certain point. And I feel like a lot of the players are getting rest days this week, which it doesn't feel like the lineup's been as full. I know Kutch had a little bit of an injury situation going, but at one point, do you have him in the field, like I said, to just, at least have a veteran out there?
That was my assumption, that they were going to at least let him play out there, I don't know, 80 games or so.
Because Santana's been DHing, and they had Connor Joe playing first. He didn't do bad at first. He did pretty good at first.
He can fill in there at first.
Yeah, but I think, like Dan said, I'm looking at the rest of the month. I think that Orioles series is going to be the toughest.
Yeah.
But they have the Rockies, which they played well away from them, but isn't Rocky Ballpark like,
they say Colorado Ballpark because it's Mile High City, the ball travels.
I remember them hitting me home runs.
No, that's the thing. They won playing small ball and starting pitching. They hung 33 runs on them in 3 games and only let up like 6 in 3 games. So that's a recipe for a win.
So they got the Rockies season this month. That's who they play tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday. I hope is going to be a good series for them, a good bounce back series. At Baltimore, I agree with Dan. That could be a tough one. And then the Tigers, I think quick 2 games against the Tigers. I think that should go in their favor. The Tigers are kind of, I'd say, the situation is the Pirates, maybe a step or 2 below.
They're below 15 and 18 right now.
Okay. Diamondbacks, I don't think they're that good, right? Diamondbacks.
They should take them out. We'll be down there.
They're on the same level as the Buccos, if you ask me. They're 19 and 14 right now. They're a half game behind the Dodgers in their division.
Yeah. Rangers, the only thing I really hear about them is DeGrom, but I think they're having a good start. So unless they run into Jake DeGrom in that series.
Isn't he getting Tommy John?
He's on the oh yeah, he's
really?
Yeah.
He had a hot start.
Last week he was complaining about his elbow and they took him out of the game. Yeah.
Okay, so that could go in their favor. The Mariners, I know they had a good season a couple years ago, but I'm not too familiar with them. I know they have that Rodriguez guy, but other than that, I don't know what they have going for them. So that could be, pretty equal. And then the Giants, which they were banking on getting Aaron Judge this year, and who else? Correa, and they'd end up getting either of them. So I think a bunch of these series could go in their favor. Just maybe steal one in Baltimore, maybe win more than one. I don't know. But I think they had a tough week, and it looks like the opponents they have coming up, barring the Orioles this week, they might, have a decent chance at having a nice bounce back run for the month of May and kind of straighten things out from the past 7 games.
Can I make a point real quick? Just
I guess.
Sure. So paint a picture for you guys. So the Braves are 24 and 11 right now. The Mets and Marlins are in their division. They're both 17 and 18. Okay. And then you got the NL West. The Dodgers are 20 and 14. Diamondbacks are 19 and 14. Padres are 18 and 16. Then you got the Buccos are 15 and 20. If I'd have told you out of the NL, the Buccos would have been the second or third best team out of all the NL sitting here at this day, what would you say? Then if you look at the American League, the AL East with the Rays and all, Orioles, Blue Jays, that's a stacked division. But then if you look at the other ones, they're weak. So the Buccos would be leading in the AL Central. They have more wins than the Twins. They'd be a half game up on the Rangers right now in the AL West. So I'm not saying that this slide is bad. What I'm saying is they put enough equity into their wins so far that they can have a little slide like this and maybe bounce back. And you hear all the naysayers and all the haters. Now I'm going to take the other side here because I would have been one of them people at the beginning of the year. They're all well, the Buccos are back. They suck. I'm so happy to be mad about Pittsburgh baseball again. Look around the league, and the Buccos would be leading in 5 of the 6 divisions that are in baseball right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, granted, in the AL East, it'd be 5th. They'd be last in that division. It'd be where the Yankees are. So I understand. I can see it from that side too. But that's one division. You look at the rest of baseball. The Buccos would be leading almost every division except 2.
It's all about how you look at it right now. And there's, it's the same thing. There's high points and low points of the season. They are at a high point, or definitely a low point right now. It's going to even out. Things will, the errors hopefully will stop. The pitching won't be giving up so many friggin' home runs.
Yeah.
But it'll even out. I'm riding it out right now. That's all.
I think, taking a bigger look at it, that it may be a little beneficial to them because they're a young team. In the middle of their little run there, they were getting a bit of attention. National media was hyping them up. And who knows, it might have gotten to their heads a little bit. They might have been, trying a little too hard or like trying to complicate things, and it might have gotten to their heads. So maybe not having that much attention on them and like getting a little kick in the ass this week, it might be a little better for them. It's all about how you respond to like big losses like that. And I feel like a new week is a new slate, especially when you get out of two tough series in a row. So brand new opponent tomorrow. They gotta just wear those losses, learn from them, and hopefully bounce back. And I will say this, I'm disgusted by the turnout for Pittsburgh Pirates fans this weekend. It was insanely bad. How many Blue Jays fans were in PNC Park? It was crazy. Like, I'd say it was 50-50, maybe more in favor of Blue Jays fans. But like Andrew said, I didn't know this. I think he said Toronto's a lot closer to Pittsburgh than I thought. So it's like an easy trip for them. But, it was just like, I've never seen that many fans from another team in like a Pittsburgh team.
It's a big weekend for Toronto fans.
They travel well too. All Toronto sports teams fans travel well. You go to a Pens game when the Leafs are in town. There's 33% Leafs fans in the crowd. They do travel well, and it's right there. It's not far at all. It is 7-hour drive. It's not far. So and then. Here's the other thing. You could probably get a Buccos ticket when they're playing Toronto cheaper than you can get a Toronto game at home. So if you're willing to pay the hotel and drive down, or just drive down and drive back, why not?
It's a big I was down in the Strip District for breakfast with Nicole. We met Dylan and Ann down there for Lucas, packed with Blue Jays fans. But it's apparently like a guys' weekend, like the Canadian version. I'm assuming like Pittsburgh is their Vegas, because they were just packed there.
They're a lot at the casino.
It was funny because we were standing outside DeLuca's, and there's a group, about 5 or 6 of them, probably most of them in their early 40s, and then there's one older guy in there, late 50s, whatever, noticeably older, and he's like, I just need somewhere to eat breakfast. And the one guy looks at me, he goes, Dave's fading pretty quick. I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who Dave is. He's fading quick. I'm like, get in there and get a table or something. This dude was like,
Dave's going down.
Diabetic or what? Yeah, Dave was about to drop on the sidewalk. I don't know what Dave was up to last night. So this somehow reaches Canadian Dave. I hope you're all right today. Yeah.
And if it does reach you, like, send a DM. Let us know what you had. I'm just curious. I don't know. Probably won't, but yeah.
I'm assuming Canadian bacon.
Ham.
That's a low hanging fruit there.
It was, but I mean, it's
French toast. He might be from Montreal. Don't they speak French up there?
See, I'm not putting. I can't really like put the, really just go after. I see Dan overheating half the episode. I'm seeing Dan's overheating down.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm getting like hot flashes or something. I'm sweating over here, but I'm pulling through.
Cut this one. We may have to cut
for dinner.
Oh, we're good. I had a salad, trying to keep it light on me.
What was the protein on there?
A little bit of chicken.
Okay, so let's say the meat sweats are out of the question, because it's not usually associated with like red meat.
And copious amounts of it too.
Yeah, you can't get meat sweats from chicken.
I might have to drop my core body temperature or something. I did take a steam and hot shower before this to try to get rid of this migraine. But I'm pulling through. I'm here. Is that enough Buccos talk?
Yeah, that's enough Bucko talk.
You guys bet the pennies yesterday?
I just don't think anything can ruin my outlook for this season. It could be a lot worse. And like you said, things are going to even out. They had a big win streak. They're playing out of their, drawers. They're playing out of their drawers. So they're going to have a little like hiccup.
Ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the season. It's baseball. It's nice out. Turn of the weather. I felt like it was a long winter. It's still on us a little bit. So the weather's changing, and I will say they did make a lot of positive. Upgrades to PNC. It looks a lot nicer. Cosmetically, they added a bunch. They didn't add a lot of cool stuff, but there's nice little things here and there. If you have a few Rugrats, it'd be a nice time to take them out. I did take a little walk across that little bouncy bridge. There weren't many kids on it at the time. I took a little bounces on it, and I got across, just humbly went across it. There's a lot of bobbleheads you can spin the heads on, and they bobble around. But yeah, there's a lot of little cool trinkets and stuff like that you can hang out around. Huh?
Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, get the kiddos out. Have some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Take the kiddos out.
You guys bet the ponies yesterday?
Oh yeah, I got a story about that.
Oh, so do I. Go ahead.
We parked at the casino, and this guy's like sitting there. He's like, yeah. He's like, you got any picks? I was like, I'm telling you, I'm an insider. Like, put all your money on Wet Paint. I thought there's a horse named Wet Paint. He's like, thank you. Didn't even like show like the worst horse in the race. No. He definitely put like a few buckaroos on there.
So I was leaving work Thursday morning, and a guy I work with was telling me about Mage, and I forgot its name, but he's like, my buddy has stakes in that horse, so he's like part owner of the horse. I was like, I'll put a couple shekels on it. So I log on to FanDuel, and I put him outright winner. I only did a $2 bet on him, 132 on it. But then I put all these, they're not trifectas. What's the two, exactas or something like that? So
showing, right? Is it if it's showing or no?
No, if you
don't know anything about horse racing.
So if you bet two horses, and I think it's called like an exacta, not a trifecta. Trifecta.
Oh yeah, exacta, right? Yeah, that sounds right.
So I had the 8 horse, and I had the 14 in an exacta. So 8 to win, 14 to come in second, and then I had another one with the 3 and 14, and then I had another one with the 8 and 7. I didn't hit any of those because the 8 and 3 ended up 1 and 2. But I'm on my phone. I was up at my old man's, and I'm like, oh, they're calling them to the gate now. So I walk in. It's like three minutes after 7, and they're already like at the finish line. And I only got to scream, "Come on, 8!" 3 times, and he ended up winning. So I won $32.
Up and you're slapping it like those guys do on TV.
Phone, and I'm smacking my phone. So yeah, that was my excitement of the ponies yesterday. They euthanized 8 or 7 horses yesterday. Yeah.
Didn't one pull a hammy or something on the?
So, like, people don't know, like with race horses, if they have any sort of leg injury, they just put them down right there because they're no good now. And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of uproar for it. But I think the outright favorite ended up screwing its hoof up. Didn't race, and I think they ended up euthanizing it like hours before the race. Yeah.
Hopefully it wasn't Wet Paint. I hope Wet Paint's still out there. That's a good name. I don't know if it was even in the race or not, but I think I heard Wet Paint was like, a wet condition horse. That's like was my info.
That's a mutter,
yeah. But it was a beautiful day. It was like the first beautiful Kentucky Derby in like 5 years.
That's what I told the guy. I was like, hey, the conditions are bad down there, like Wet Paint. Like, it's a bad weather horse. And the guy's like, thanks.
You told a guy to take a mutter on like a perfect day. Like,
on a day where you want just that sprinter.
That's a scum move right there.
If I go on and I see like Wet Paint was euthanized, like that's going to be a bad look. Like, because I love it. Because you can see that guy like, yeah, Wet Paint was euthanized. Like, that a-hole gave me Wet Paint. And he was... Is there like a list that they have? At the Oscars at the end of the year, how they have those like who died
in memoriam? No,
they have like the horses come up like Wet Paint. Like
I remember years ago, one of the first Kentucky Derbies I actually watched and like put a couple shekels on with my old man.
Yeah.
Big Brown was the favorite. He ended up winning the Derby, and then what's the next one? Preakness. There's the Belmont. The Belmont. The next one. So he won the first 2 and then was going for the Triple Crown and ended up getting screwed up in the third one and was down on the track, and they just put him down right there on the turn. So, but yeah.
So Mage won. I hate when they use the numbers. Like, just say the
number
name.
8.
So give us an update on Wet Paint. We know who won. Wet Paint.
I just tried to spell Kentucky with a C. So, I was looking at the order. He wasn't in there. This is not a good,
I got to bet on a horse they put down hours before the race.
Was he even in the race?
Let me look.
Like, what is Wet Paint even a horse?
It says Wet Paint 7. Is there 6 more I didn't know about? Does it say 7? Like full date? What's full date mean? FOAL. It's good on dirt. He's had 3 firsts on dirt. Is he dead?
No, Wet Paint's all right.
Where's he not even in the race?
I don't know.
Churchill Downs. So using the Churchill Downs. I see nothing.
That's where they run the Derby, Churchill Downs.
That's a good problem to have. What do you need to know? So what happened to wet paint? It's a girl. Do they like mix them up from like genders?
No, because what do they call those, mares or whatever? It's rare for them to run in the Derby, but they do.
I do not see wet paint in. Did I just give this guy like a horse that wasn't even in it?
I think so.
Listen, I'm reading like the horses that died at the Derby. Chloe's Dream, Vandoff, Freezing Points. Both of them were vanned off and later given a lethal injection.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you know, what they're doing to prisoners, basically. You know, they're Kentucky wants to do that, basically. No, I'm just kidding. Parents Pride pulled up and died on the track. Later in the paddock, Code of Kings flipped over twice and broke his neck. Like, what is going on down there?
So, like, they get them. So here's my assumption of horse racing. They get them all horned up to go out there and run on that adrenaline and shit. And anything can happen and they could freak out. But you see a lot of them, they'll get them injuries when they're coming around the turns and another horse will like bump into their leg. And that horse is ruined then, especially for, you know, what are they going to do? You know, nurse it back to health and let it just run in a pasture. But then that costs money. That's the way they see it. So they just put it out of its misery.
Why don't they just like donate it to someone that would like do that though?
I don't know. A lot of money. Like who's really gonna take over a horse? Yeah, it's gonna cost a lot.
Yeah,
you could like run around barrels with it, right? Or would that be it? Could it never run again?
It pretty much can't run ever again. It's prone to re-injuring that leg.
Do they make like horse steaks or something, or at least like use tools with the bones?
Glue.
Huh?
You've never look up how they make like Elmer's glue.
Okay, I feel like you're going down a road I don't want to go down.
Okay.
I think update on what's it called?
Wet paint.
Kentucky Oaks. So I don't think it's the Kentucky Derby.
So you gave a guy a bet. The horse wasn't even there.
It wasn't even the Derby.
I think it raced like May 5th.
Where were you? Where'd you see wet paint at yesterday to just wet paint?
Are you okay?
I just saw, like, I was looking, like, I was going on inside information. I was deep on the web, and, like, all these guys were on their keyboards saying, like, wet paint. I saw, like, a whole string, like, wet paint this, wet paint that.
You even told him you were an insider, so this guy's going to want to find you now because he just bet his house on wet paint.
Yeah, you're
or how this horse came a part of my life, but I cannot find anything, like, on it.
That's my Jag of the week right there, Ryan.
Yeah.
I was like, I told so many people to take wet paint. Like, I was like, yeah, go for wet paint. I just like the name.
You were talking wet paint up, and wet paint wasn't even there.
3 years old. It's just a kid. It's a baby.
No, that's their prime.
Yeah, that's their prime.
U.S. trainer Brad Cox. I guess that's a good trainer. Wet paint. It's a girl. So, like Dan said, isn't it rare? You said for a girl horse.
It's what do they call it? Like I said, they call them mares. I think it's rare for them to even run in the Derby.
Where the hell did this thing race?
Let alone win.
Oh, it raced May 5th in the 2023 Kentucky Oaks.
That was the day before.
Huh?
That was the day before the Derby.
Yeah. Was it at the same place though?
No, Churchill Downs is what hosts the Derby.
Okay, so
it might have been the same place. I don't know.
It was a good pick because she came in fourth behind Pretty Mischievous Gambling Girl in the Alley's Look. And then before that, here's Wet Paint. First, second, 10th.
What did you say? The Kentucky Oaks?
So this is a good horse. Like, you want this horse. Anytime you see Wet Paint racing, take Wet Paint. You're going to love Wet Paint. But do you want me to give like a
Here you go.
Want me? Hold on, go ahead.
The Kentucky Oaks is a grade 1 stakes race for 3-year-old thoroughbreds. So That's like, it's still at Churchill Downs. It's still the same place where they run the Derby, like the Kentucky Derby. It's just, let's call that the minor leagues of horse racing, because this is like a 9-day thing down there at Churchill Downs. They have races for like 9 straight days, because then they have them on the turf too on the inside.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the
It's
Kentucky.
good on dirt.
I've never heard of the Kentucky Oaks till today, but I'm assuming the way it's stated here that is like a minor leagues of horse racing, and then you come up to the big time.
If I was gonna pick, I would have picked Rocket Can.
Yeah.
If I was gonna pick, that's who I would have told people to pick. Rocket Can, because it sounds like Rocket Man, like Rocket Can, running up this track out here, you know?
Yeah.
Well, except there's like 30 of their horses, so he wasn't really alone. I want to start betting on those races where they have that mechanical bunny rabbit and like the dogs, the greyhounds.
Races? Yeah, greyhound races. Yeah.
Do they have names?
Oh, they'll have names. Yeah.
I'll give a name. Greyhound races coming up.
No, I don't watch any of that. Nope.
I'm gonna give the people. I'm gonna give people one pick.
You don't know. No, you don't know it. You don't even know what horses are racing where. Your picks are dog.
All right, here we go. Time form. Today's race cards. Greyhound racing. We got the Sunderland. What is this? Today's racing. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Is there races to look how many there are? There's literally like 1 trillion races a day.
Yeah. Why do you think people are like degenerates?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 144 like races a day of just greyhounds. All right, here we got 1106 tomorrow. The Perry Bar. The Perry Bar. I'll give you a pick. All right, so I'm on timeform.com. This one's the Perry Bar, 1106. This is the race card. It's A9, distance 480 meters, flat, prize first, 115 euros. All right, so we got the favorite Bramble Simba, Rosehill Wrath. There's only 6 dogs in this race? Okay. Lemon Linda, 4th favorite, 4 out of 6. Lemon Linda. We're going Lemon Linda here.
Okay.
Walk that in.
Yeah.
You're going to bet greyhounds?
Greyhound racing. No, I'd rather talk about, I don't know, arena football.
Whatever. See, you win no money on greyhound racing because I just gave out a free pick.
When I'm not taking any of your picks till you can prove that the person I'm putting money on, or the dog, or the horse,
it's right there. Lemon Linda. Take a look.
Actually, in the race.
Is that on FanDuel? Is that on FanDuel?
It's on I'm on the website. It's Timeform Greyhounds.
No,
I don't know if it's on.
If I can't get it on FanDuel, I'm not going to get it.
Whatever. You know, maybe I'll just stop talking about greyhound racing. So apparently, I don't know anything about it. You know.
Well, you didn't even know dogs raced until about 5 minits ago. Dan,
I did. That's when they brought it up.
You're basically dying of a fever. I mean,
I'm all right, bud.
Look at him. He's winded right now. He's winded. You know, he doesn't want to.
I give up. We're done talking about. You know, I try to throw like a nice new little segment in where I give people a greyhound to put a few, doubloons on. And you know what just blows up in my face? You know?
Yeah, it does. Because you
trying to help people.
All I heard this weekend was wet paint. You didn't even know when wet paint raced.
You should have came and asked me. I'd have told you who was going to win. Because who made money this weekend? That's right.
Mage.
You did.
I was going to say like Mage. But, if I would have said I would have picked Mage, everyone would be like, you just said that because I was the winner. But, like, a Mage is, like, basically a wizard. I would have probably picked that one.
I'll show you.
But Rocket Can sounds pretty cool.
Yesterday. Picked Mage.
Yeah, Dan got the bet slip.
All right, we'll do this. We'll find the next coming horse race. And we'll all take a different horse next horse race. And if mine does the best, you all have to publicly apologize.
Because here's the thing. Dan's got the bet slip to back him up.
When's the Preakness?
It might be the Belmont.
When's the Belmont Stakes? Give me the next horse race, and I'm gonna win. American Pharaoh. Give me American Pharaoh.
All right. So here's the issue. Here's the issue. All right.
I see no issue.
You talk about, oh, I know who's going to win. You didn't know what horse. Dan got the bet slip. Dan can confirm I can haul more than you. You don't have the credentials here. I'll be honest. You don't. You talk the talk. You don't walk the walk. I'll say it.
The Preakness is next. That's May 20th, and then the Belmont is June 10th.
Let's go. What'd you say? Preakness next?
Yeah, Preakness is next.
Let's all pick a different horse on the Preakness. We'll draw straws.
We're going to the Pirate game that day, so I'll go to the casino and put it.
Here's what we'll do. I'm telling you. I'll get 3 straws of different length, one longer than the next. We'll draw straws. We'll go back in time, old-fashioned way. We draw straws, and you get your pick of which horse you want first.
No.
That's the fairest way to go. I'm just going to pick the best one.
What if I do the research and Dan and I pick the same horse? Then we're riding with that horse.
You can't, because then there's no real winner. You got to have a winner, right, Dan? You got to agree with me on this one.
No, because if I'm putting in the work here and I pick the same horse as one of you guys, I'm riding it out. I'm making money. That's what it comes down to.
Pick the same horse, and this whole new idea blows up in my face too.
Well, it shows we did the research. That's all it does.
Well, I'm not doing research. I'm just picking the coolest name.
You'll probably bet on a horse that's not even in the state at that time. So it'll be.
You know what that means? Wet Paint's still alive and kicking. I thought going in, I thought Wet Paint might have gotten euthanized.
Might have.
So that's a win on its own.
Let's wrap it. I'm wrapping this up here. This is just ridiculous. We're off the rails.
It's a shame. Some people don't respect. You guys only care about
Ryan, just cut it.
You guys only care about
Dan is literally sweating to death down there, and you're just rambling about greyhounds. This is where my Sunday night is.
I'm off the greyhounds. I'm just saying, you guys only care about the major league horses. I'm going for the little guy. Wet Paint might not have been in the top upper echelon league, but Wet Paint showed up. Wet Paint clocks in and clocks out every day. Wet Paint packs a carrot in its lunchbox every day. And Wet Paint is there. Tell me when Wet Paint wasn't there.
Wet Paint wasn't there. Wet Paint was not there.
Emotionally, spiritually.
Episode 43.
But you know what? Somewhere out there, one guy was rooting for Wet Paint for one day.
You two halves of a whole idiot. That's what you.
He probably went to put that bet slip in there. Probably like, what race do you want him in? And he's probably, today the Derby. Well, he raced yesterday and isn't racing for another 2 weeks. And he's probably like, again, no. This is the last time I take advice from a random stranger in the parking garage.
Whatever. Wet Paint's still kicking. Wet Paint lives another day.
Listen, that's Youngzers episode 43. Do not listen to Ryan for any type of betting advice.
Unless it's horse racing.
No.
We're taking the Preakness. Follow me on Twitter to get my Preakness pick.
Anybody you want to listen to me, I got the winners. Don't worry.
Preakness pick loading on Twitter. I'll get you one.